knowledge, strength, wealth, status, excellence, many different words, many different meanings. But they do share one important thing, and that's that they are all outcomes. They are not obtainable by themselves, just like an effect can't take shape without the cause that contributed to its materialization. Right? They need something else, a seed, a root, a foundation. If excellence were the tallest building in your city, and you ripped it apart piece by piece until only the core existed, only that foundation, what you would see is courage. Because courage is the thing that gives you a platform to build on. Every starting block is comprised of unknowns. Every endeavor, every journey, every time you start something new, you're by definition a rookie. You're at the bottom of some pecking order. And I want you to never be fearful of these situations, but to be thankful for them. They're the roots that allow the tree to grow, and the only thing required for you to move forward is having the courage to say yes. Life is opportunity. The world around you is opportunity. Some people close their eyes and ignore it. Others choose to see it. Courage is never closing your eyes. Everything around you is courage. That building you're walking by, someone had the courage to start that construction company. The music you're listening to, someone had the courage to put their art out there into the world, to embrace the critics, the naysayers, the envious. They didn't stop. And now their creativity is flowing out of your headphones and into your life. Courage is the understanding that simple and easy are very different words. It is incredibly simple to work harder than the person next to you. It is simple to make sacrifices, to move out of your comfort zone. You don't need to understand Einstein's theory of relativity to be able to do those things. Oh, but side note, they're insanely difficult. At first, they will kill you inside. You'll be nervous, scared, self-conscious. Courage is the understanding that fear becomes progress, that being nervous transforms into excitement, and that what once ate away at you will become the fire that reshapes your life. Allow yourself to stumble through the beginning. Let yourself fail. That guy running a 5-minute mile, at one point he ran it in 8. That woman worth $1 billion at one point was worth $1 million, $100K. Maybe she was broke. It takes no courage to run the same speed your whole life. It takes no courage to stay stagnant. Courage is saying to yourself, I am worth more than I have now. I am faster than that stopwatch is showing. I am better than this grade reflects. Courage is when your actions take on a life of their own, when they embody that winning mentality, when your friends, your peers, and the people in your life give you a hard time because you're not the same person today that you were yesterday. Courage is smiling and moving forward. It's when the first setback comes, and the second, and the third, and the fourth, and you go straight through it. You adapt. You never lose sight of what you want. Courage is believing so strongly in your ability that you welcome discomfort today just so that you can turn it into an advantage tomorrow. Courage isn't listening to this, taking your quick blast of adrenaline into the living room and streaming Netflix. No, it's thinking about what you want more than anything else and driving toward it. One courageous step at a time. That is courage. Nothing in life will ever be bigger or smaller than your thoughts about it. You are your perception of the world as it unfolds before you. Your mind will either be your single greatest ally or the very reason that you fail. This is a battle between you and yourself. And I want to make something clear. No one, nothing will ever dictate your success except you. Those who judge or criticize, they're not a reason to change your approach or backpedal. They are a benchmark. They are a sign to carry on. See, you'll never achieve until you can depersonalize criticism, until you understand that negativity, that the opinions of others are not a reflection of you or your work. They are simply part of a beautiful process. Look, in life there are certain undeniable truths. I can promise you that tomorrow the sun will rise. I can promise you that 2 and 2 will give you 4. And I can promise you that anything worthwhile in life will have its doubters, its haters, and its cynics. You will have people who want to pull you down before you begin the climb. But they are not the problem nor the tragedy. Their existence is guaranteed. Oh, they'll be there. The tragedy is letting them misdirect your journey, giving them control of a battle that is not theirs to take. You aren't doing this for the ones trying to tear you down or the ones helping to lift you up. You're doing it because it's right for you, because deep down in your soul, you know there's no other reason, there's no other option. You know what your values are, where your heart is. When they say no, smile. When they talk, carry on. If you have not made the world around you uneasy or uncomfortable, if you've generated no reaction, you have not moved. So don't run from the dissenting voices. Let them be. Their words highlight their own shortcomings, not yours. Sure, it will be difficult. Yes, it's an adjustment, but at some point you'll see that the climb was dependent on it. That attempting to satisfy the world around you only leaves you empty, because at the end of the day, you can hide from criticism or anticipate it and keep moving right towards your dreams. Build your castle. There is no need to keep the doubters or the naysayers out. They are no threat to your empire. There's a very specific place I encounter almost every day, where the sidewalk ends, a crossroads exists, and anyone who approaches it is presented with a handful of options. As time's gone on, I've formed quite the relationship with this spot. You're probably wondering why. Who cares? Don't you have better things to think about than the end of a concrete slab? Well, let me ask you something. At its core, how do you define success? What is getting what you want? What does that take? Because if someone asked me, I wouldn't have to say a word. I could point to that random, arbitrary intersection and let it do all the talking for me. So let me explain. For those who know nothing about me, I am an avid runner. And almost daily I put my running shoes on, I hit the pavement, most of the time long distances, sometimes middle distance. And it's a sacred time for me. to push myself, to test my will, ultimately to see if I can be better today than I was yesterday. And every time I approach the end of my workout, I inevitably arrive at this spot, which is about a mile from my doorstep. And it forces me to ask a serious question. How bad do you want to win? My situation is simple. I can continue going straight. I can stay on the paved road where eventually another path forms and leads me to my doorstep. Or I can go left, I can jump onto the beach and finish that last mile off on the sand. Certainly not a life or death decision. Both paths lead me home. But I'll tell you something, when you're tired, when you're thirsty, when you've been running in the South Florida sun in August, running in the soft sand sucks, and it sucks just enough that you question every step. And I remember the first time I opted for the beach, right? Didn't think too much of it, but very quickly that changed. As every step sunk into the sand, as the sun glared down at me, I immediately began looking for a cop-out. Every thought revolved around the idea that I could stop, that this was stupid, it was unnecessary discomfort. Why the hell didn't I just stay on the sidewalk? But as you can imagine, time passed and I arrived home. The next time presented with the same situation, I went left and I felt the same way. But having done it before seemed to ease my mind. I put up with the physical obstacles, the mental gymnastics, and I got home. And then there was a third time and a fourth time and a fifth time, and then it became part of my routine. And a few weeks in, I realized that my thinking was completely different. And this is the important part, okay? See, now at this point, there were no negative thoughts. There was no self-loathing. My brain wasn't creating a sob story or attempting to highlight the impracticality of my decision. No, it was just routine. It was just what happens when you approach the end of your run. It doesn't matter how far you've gone, how hard you've pushed, how tired you are. You go left. You run on the beach. That's it, period. And it's a funny thing, when you've convinced yourself there are no other options, it becomes incredibly easy to adapt. You may understand where I'm going with this little story, because the moral isn't about running, or the beach, or Florida summers. It's about laughing in the face of those little inconveniences life throws at you. Doing the small things that make you better, putting yourself through the struggle in the short term for the win in the long term, training your mind to become stronger. Because I'll tell you, when it's hot, when you're tired, it becomes incredibly difficult to think about the macro. Our mind focuses on the small things, the now. Why put yourself through unnecessary hell? But what we learn when we do this is that not only do we become accustomed to anything, but we want the next thing. The reward becomes bigger than the temporary struggle. It's a mutual exchange, sweat for progress, pain for momentum, for a win. Humans are incredible in what they can achieve, how they can adapt to problems and rise above any set of circumstances. And this means when you come to your crossroads, maybe it's not physical. Maybe it's completely mental. Maybe it's a decision that you're scared to make, an obstacle you've been avoiding. It means you stop taking the easy road and you run right through it. You collect your bruises and scars and come out better for it, because those small decisions matter. The meaningless runs in the sand become very meaningful. They're the roots that grow into your subconscious mind, that encourage risks, that whisper in your ear that you're better, that you're worthy of more. And if you can't train your mind to fight the small battles, the big victories will forever remain a myth, reserved for the people you see on TV, the biographies you read on the weekends, and that's not you. You're not average, so stop thinking like you are. Evolve. Start stacking your pain, your discomfort, the little inconveniences you avoid. Stack them like bricks. Because in time, you'll have something very real to stand on. You pick up a stick and you draw a line in the sand. And on one side of this line is everything that's possible for you. Everything you can have, everything obtainable in your life. And on the other side is what's not. Those things you've decided are sort of beyond the realm of reality. Save for your fantasies, imagination, they're the job, the people, the cars that you walk by and think must be nice. Okay, and you notice that this divide's incredibly reliable. The things you have on the possible side, they remain possible. You reach for them, you gravitate towards them because you identify them as real. Just like the other side of that line is guaranteed to remain the same. Why would you work towards something that's impossible or unobtainable? Why would you waste your time? But now let's experiment. Okay, so you take your foot, you drag it over this line, you erase it. You pick up that stick and you draw a new line, a few inches over. And now a small portion of the impossible things are on the possible side. Okay, maybe the job or the house. And you look down at this new portrait, this new picture, and you see a new reality. Your actions start reflecting this change. You start acting like someone who deserves these things. If you don't believe there's gold under your feet, you never dig for it, right? The hardest part isn't digging, it's convincing yourself that this dream, this goal, this desire, it can be yours. It's closing your eyes and seeing yourself as what you want to be. And that's one of the hardest things for people to do. It's why we stay grounded, because it's literally step one that we miss. You can't begin a journey to something better if you don't believe it's waiting for you, if you don't become it before you have it. And here's what's incredible. That line in the sand, it can be redrawn over and over again. It's never permanent. Every day, you can recreate what's possible just by taking yesterday's fantasies and placing them on your side of the line. Telling yourself that it's part of who you are, it's your identity, and humans always follow through to who they believe they are. Runners run, teachers teach. If you believe you're wealthy, you will find ways to generate wealth. This is power, not magic. Where you close your eyes and the world changes. No, this is saying to yourself, okay, I can be this, I can have this, and then living up to it. Changing every day. Staying where you are is not always some dramatic action. It's often failing to realize that you have the world in the palm of your hand. Not watering a sea because you don't have the foresight to visualize what it can become. These lines do not need to exist. They don't need to hold you back. Redraw your expectations, adjust your outlook, and change your world. The same is never extraordinary. It's never remarkable or memorable, will never be talked or written about. So why then is it so frequently sought after? What compels us to wander down this path of familiarity? The same path covered up with the footprints of millions who have already been there before you, who have done it before, who've been deceived by it before. Following the footsteps of the majority, it guarantees one thing: that you will get what the majority has. You'll get their comfort, their reassurance, their sense of belonging, but that's half the deal. Because the path also comes with unanswered questions. It comes with never knowing what's possible or could have been, or your potential. See, being the same is like ibuprofen. It addresses the symptom, not the root cause. It fulfills an immediate need. But like a dwindling flame, you'll see more and more every day that it's not capable of keeping the room lit. The same means you didn't ask yourself what's right, you asked the world around you. And contrary to what most believe, these answers are not congruent. You can't follow the crowd and follow your heart. You can't be what's popular and be what's true to yourself. You can't be the same and be significant. If you want to achieve, think differently. Stop waiting in lines for things you don't want. They will not bring you fulfillment. They will not lift you up or set you apart or give you meaning. Conformity has a ceiling, and your potential does not. This creates conflict. It breeds missed opportunities and wasted potential. If there is one thing I want you to take away from this, one thing, understand that the size of a crowd is not proportional to the value of the decision it's making. Millions and millions can miss the very opportunity that one person saw. The whole world can turn away from the answer that one person believed in. To mindlessly join the march is to forfeit that opportunity to be that one person. To bring something to the table to change the world and redraw the lines around humanity that box so many of us in. The temporary comfort of belonging, it's a false god. It brings you nothing but away from where you want to be, from where you can be. The goal is not to be them, it's to be yourself and in turn create a better world for them. For yourself, for your dreams, for what's possible. To get something different, you have to do something differently. Don't conform to what's there, find what's not. Don't listen to what's said, write new words to be spoken. Don't follow yesterday's path, pave a new path for tomorrow. What's standing, it already exists. Your treasure lies in the gaps and blank spaces between them. The things that people walk right by. That's what you need. That's what the world needs, even if they don't know it. Look, you may not be understood now, but like anything of value, of true meaning, that time will come. Just at a cost the majority is not willing to pay. But if you are, your path will lead you past mediocrity, past conformity, past the average, and towards the best things this world has. You didn't see what is, you saw what could be, and you created it. And there is nothing more powerful than that.